Like now, the smile on my face had to be surgically removed at this point because I mean, it feels great just to have accolades from dude. Since I was a 12-year-old little boy,
Aww.
I've been listening to you guys. Probably shouldn't at 12 listen to your music now and think about it, but to hear that like levels from one of your childhood heroes and icons, that's an accolade right there, man. Well, you kind of answered this question, but I had it here. Is there a social media influence in your work, whether that be in the studio or live?
Well, I mean, I think the fact that, we're playing a sold-out show here in Detroit maybe have something to do with social media. I mean, who knows? I mean, we can't believe we're getting to come back here and play this venue and have a sold-out show after being away for 7 years. People would kill to be in our position. So I have to imagine that some of that is to do with, people hearing about us coming to town through all the social media outlets that are out there. Okay. I mean, I don't know for sure, but
yeah, I mean, it's definitely the wave of the future, and we luckily Shirley's embraced it full on. And one of the great things about being in Garbage is that we all sort of take on different roles in terms of things that need to be done, whether it's the songwriting or the mixing or the merchandise or some sort of business decision, whatever. But Shirley really has embraced the Facebook and Twitter. Steve and I do to a certain extent. I don't think Duke has tweeted once yet, but we're trying to get him.
I don't think we'll ever get him to do that. He just has no interest in it whatsoever.
We're trying to get him to tweet. But, I mean, Shirley's also, we're very surprised because at all these shows, there's a lot of young kids at the show, some who were probably not even born when our first record came out. And they know all the lyrics to the songs, and I think part of that is, especially for a lot of the young girls, I think they see Shirley as a role model. And, because she's outspoken and honest. And in this sort of world of big pop superstars like Katy Perry and Rihanna, who are both great in their own way, there's not a lot of girls coming up in the rock and roll, making a lot of noise. And so I think, honestly, being able to sort of deal with the social media, they get to hear a lot of her opinions and her personality, and I think that's interesting and inspiring to them. And so honestly, that's, I think, one of the reasons there's also a lot of young fans at our shows, because we're not getting pushed by a big giant corporation, into supermarkets that they used to try and do to us, So usually that's how you get a real mainstream. Well, in parts in the world, they would try to sell us in supermarkets, whatever, in the past.
You guys were on a cereal box or something?
I'm rambling on here, but what I'm trying to say
Start your morning with garbage.
Is that the social media, I think, has turned us on to a young generation of fans. That's what I was trying to say in a long-winded
It's cool because I'm glad you brought that up because, like some of the people who have been vocal about your influence today is like Lana Del Rey, Katy Perry. They have been vocal about your influence towards them. Like you're a champion. You got kids out there, Shirley.
I've got kids.
You got musical kids.
Oh, that's rad.
That
I love
influence.
it. Yeah. No.
What is your reaction to that when they give you these high accolades?
I'm psyched. I mean, we're all as a band psyched. It's. I mean, I know that I'm sort of the female figurehead of the band, but I know that it was the music that affected all those girls. Like Florence and the Machine and Katy Perry and Lady Gaga and Lana Del Rey, and I think maybe we just all have a kindred spirit. But it was the records they fell in love with. I just get to pick up the trophy, but
that's pretty good.
But having Butch Vig in your band doesn't suck either. That helps.
Hear that, Butch? You don't suck. But I mean, when it comes down to recording, like recorded on your own label this time, like I've noticed your album, Now Your Kind of People, is more of a, I want to say, raw, unapologetic, more emotional sound. Versus to what we have today, where people are just essentially trying to sound perfect. Yeah. Everything's going all right with me, for 13 tracks.
It's really eloquently put, actually.
How do you did that? Was that an idea, or is that how you just came out and says, you know what, this is how I'm feeling, let's do it, and you write towards that, or was it sort of feelings? Or was it kind of like, hey, since everyone's doing that, let's turn our back on the perfect sounding album, so to speak? Which in itself made it sound perfect. I mean, it's ironic to some degree.
I know, I'm just a very sort of upfront person. I'm pretty honest, and I sort of am very straightforward, and I tend to tell the truth. And I do notice, much as you've just said, that there's a sort of, I don't know, like a whole streak for 10 years of particularly women in pop, but I'm sure it affects the male pop stars as well. But pop has dominated radio, and all the pop girls, I think, are terrified of being imperfect because I think they think it's going to cost them their career. I think we're living in an age where everyone's measuring themselves by how many people like them on Facebook. And I think it's gotten into this sort of crazy place where young people in particular feel scared to be themselves in case people don't like them. And I think that has been a terrifying upturn in the last decade. That's why I really admire someone like Rihanna, because I think she realised, she got to the point, her career had gone on long enough where she was like, I cannot win here. I'm just going to be myself, and I'm not going to try and be perfect and live out everybody else's sort of fantasies of who I am and what I am. And I think
so. She started dating Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I have long theories about that. But
That's a way to shut down your critics, right there.
I don't think it's any of our business.
Well,
yeah, it's not any of our business.
But I think perfection is boring, and I like mess, and I like the truth. That's what I want. I want authenticity and truth and mistakes.
All right. Well, speaking of